The truth hangs heavy upon the air. It's...
You come here often. Looks like the big moment has finally... Don't underestimate the power of true prayer. Consider it a... Of course, his melody looks like... You've... Now go.
God woken. Doubt your sup.
I am...
Yes.
Doubt...
Sup. Fear not. God woken.
I shall tell you the tale as I told it to Lucian. Long ago, the scholar Fane discovered that the veil between the world and the void was made of source. Our 7 lords desired this power.
Of course.
Silence, slave. Our king forbade the 7 to reach for this power, but they didn't listen. Instead, they rebelled and sent the king and his people into the void.
With the source they stole from the veil. The 7 created the races so they would have worshippers.
Really? I'm shocked.
Shut your mouth, Godwoken. I tell you the truth.
He hesitates. Then he swallows his pride.
Here is the truth. I have killed thousands, perhaps millions for the greater good. But I made a mistake. It was my use of Death Fog that opened the door to the God King. It upset the veil and took the 7 by surprise. My one mistake meant all those sacrifices were for naught. Those sacrifices must have meaning. They must stop the void once and for all.
That will not do.
The Aetiran is the salvation of Rivellon. It contains almost all the source that was ripped from the veil, except yours.
The plan is almost complete.
We have made so many sacrifices, Godwoken. All of us. Of ourselves and those we love. One last sacrifice is required. For the future of Rivellon. You must surrender your source.
Decide. Be the true hero and give up your source, or be forced to submit. Like a coward. Like a slave.
There is no other way. The source of the world is required to close the veil. All of the source. We only lack yours.
As I say, one last sacrifice is required. Yours. Good. You understand.
The world shall not know this. I shall return from the grave, a divine without power, yet all who desire power shall fear me. I shall carry the secret of my lack of divinity. Peace shall reign.
Then let us proceed. Show some responsibility. Surrender your source!
You'll be a hero. Everyone will know of the sacrifice you'll make. Your name will be synonymous with the survival of Rivellon.
The voice of the God King comes to you from beyond the veil.
Surrender to no one. I am your god and your king. I do not demand submission. I demand only loyalty. Together we shall rule the world. But first, these thieves must die. You are sworn to me. Fulfill your oath. Kill them. You swore! You swore! You took my favor, and now you refuse to repay it! Behold the fate of the Oathbreaker! Behold the fate of the heretic! Behold the fate of the thief!
What's left of the corpse on the floor bubbles once and then pools, cooling quietly on the stone. The point is made.
That is the fate of the world under the God King. We cannot allow it.
Oh, really?
Quiet, you! Now, Godwoken, you know what you must do. We must heal the veil. We must banish the void forever. We must give up your source.
God Woken, surrender your source. Surrender your soul. Good.
Yes, very good.
She raises what looks like a leash. A chuckle emerges from beneath the cloaked figure's hood. The chuckle becomes a guffaw, booming and hateful. Dallis flicks her wrist, and nothing.
Surprise! Surprise! Surprise!
How? What? The leash is cut!
A bright observation from a bilious imbecile. You know people often become sloppy when they're close to achieving their dream. You left the leashing wand next to me, you stupid maggot. So accustomed had you become to me, pretending to be your slave.
Kill him.
Do shut up, you tedious buffoon, and don't look so surprised, as if I would allow a bone bag to enslave me. Me! Aren't you supposed to be the bright one? I am Brachus Rex. I am the Source King. Yes. You remember, don't you? My weapons, my magic, my master scheme. For divinity! Or did you really think I'd play slavishly along with your ridiculous scheme, Dallis? Yes, I played my part of the servile stooge. But know this. It was only about the power of divinity.
Kill him. Now.
Too late, you moldering, blight-stained pigs. Grant me power, my ally. God King, I call on you! You would interrupt Brachus Rex? You would interrupt the Source King? You shall redefine suffering. My ally sends me a pet. What a fitting gift. Ruling the world with a bloody fist can be lonely. I needed a companion. Come to your father, my pretty thing. Come to the Source King!
Brachus Rex, the Source King of legend, lies dead once more, perhaps even for good. Dallis groans and looks to you with weakened eyes.
I have failed. The future of all that is rests on your shoulders.
You think back on your journey here, on all you have seen, on how the Magisters hunted sorcerers who committed horrible crimes, and purged sorcerers who only tried to heal the sick. You think of how the Eternals unleashed void-woken horror on the world in an effort to reclaim it. You look at the source around you. You know that within your reach is divinity. You think of what you could do with such power. Seeing the vast quantity of source in front of you, you think you should be able to handle a couple of void-woken. You think of your personal problems. It's time to make a choice that decides the fate of Rivellon and of you. Where do you stand? After all that you have been through, and all that you have done, all that you have become, the Aeteran lies in front of you. Divinity is yours to take, or to sacrifice. What you do next decides your own fate and the future of the world. What shall you do with divinity?
And so it ended. A tale that began with my own ill-fated attempt to rid the world of the Godwoken. When the dust settled, no new divine had risen. Instead, all Source was released into the world for all the people and every creature to share. Everyone was now a sorcerer. And united, the peoples of Rivellon pushed back the God King into the very depths of the void. This ushered in a new golden age of peace and prosperity. But alas, it was not to last. With many greedy for wealth, power and position, the struggle soon began anew. Source, the very language of creation, was used in violence once more. The never-ending contest for power continued. As for me, my last hope of ever being freed of the God King's terrible tyranny faded when the Godwoken failed to seal the veil. An eternity of pain and suffering is mine, in service of the King, until the day I am freed, the day the God King returns.
Malady stands tall and proud, sunlight sparkling off her mask. From here, she looks almost angelic.
Well, here we are again. You get an eyeful. I expect I have a lot of planning to do, now that there's not to be a new divinity.
She drums her fingers testily on her crossed arms.
All that work, all that effort tossed into the gutter like a malformed child. You say that now. Let's see how you feel when you realize the true implication of a world filled with sorcerers. Never mind. I'll find another way. I always do.
She fingers the mask covering her face. For a moment, it seems as though she's about to remove it. But instead, she places a hand on your shoulder.
We've come a long way together. I did my best by you all the way. Sacrificed much. And I'd have given even more to see you fulfill your destiny.
She looks you up and down.
I guess this will have to do. Take a moment, why don't you? Relax. Enjoy. I certainly plan to do the same. Until next time.
The spirit of the Red Prince looks out over the water with that same steady, malcontent stare he sported when you first met.
So, that's it. The world is yours now.
I am here to serve, Master. I am bidden to serve you. I am at the ready.
You look out, and with a start, you realize where you must go next. The world was at peace, at least for now. With its significance as the seat of divinity diminished, Arx fell into decline, and within 7 generations had emptied. Few were as prepared for the new world as the lizardkin of the ancient empire. With power spread equally throughout the world, the advantage lay with those who knew how to steal it, and at this the lizards excelled. Justinia returned to her throne. Under her rule, the Dwarven kingdom prospered, until 2 years later a jealous lover stabbed her in the heart with a mutton fork. With their power returned, the elves reclaimed their lands from the Death Fog and began to rebuild. Soon they would split as 2 factions sought power, one to bring back the trees, the other to bring back the scions. A dwarven joke did the rounds. It ends with the punchline, "So Lucian dropped the Death Fog on them again." And in a dark forest on the far side of a desert, well beyond the high seas, the Black Ring came together once more. The island of Fort Joy, the old redoubt of the Source King Brachus Rex, was turned over to the people of Driftwood to use as they wished. They turned it into a holiday resort. Reaper's Coast prospered. The fisheries returned, and the fertile farmlands produced the greatest harvests the surviving farmers had ever seen. Blood Moon Island became particularly fecund, its soil producing the greatest crops. A particularly crimson-fleshed orange grown on the island became a delicacy across half the world. The black pits took fire. The oil there burns still. Driftwood became a centre of industry, trade, and transport. The nameless isle had vanished. Although only open water remained, by instinct ships would steer clear. None of the captains could articulate why. Millennia later, adventurers would come in search of the legendary divine city of Arx and the crypt of the great Lucian. None would pass the path of blood. Young Han went into the theatre and became one of the realm's most popular actors. With no new divine, Malady found herself in a predicament. She had an important problem to solve, but no ally strong enough to call upon, and so her search continued. Having performed the greatest act of necromancy in history, Tarquin found the new world unchallenging. He became obsessed with rumors of another plane of existence. One day he vanished and was never seen again. As the forests grew anew and the elves were equals at last, Sahala shared elven knowledge of Source with the world. But some elves disagreed and plotted against her. Chief amongst her opponents was Tova, Sahala's own mother. And then there was you. You returned to the world a sorcerer among many. Your future was yours to decide. Did you accept your new status with humility? Only you know the truth. Only you know if you atone for your sins.